Well, Pete, I can't tell you how delighted I am to have the chance to do this with you. Co-producer of our Hitting the Books and has been since we started this. He takes care of what you finally see when you go online and does a great job with it. Rely on him tremendously, and we have a great time talking about books, so I'm so happy that you're able to do this with us.
Happy to be here.
All right, we're going to talk about your favorite book, and you and I have talked about this for a while. Tell us what it is.
On the Road by Jack Kerouac.
Why?
It's about wanderlust, and I don't think there's a single person, especially when you're young. I read it when I was around 20 in college. I don't think there's a single person that age that doesn't wonder what it would be like to go somewhere different, meet new people, relish new experiences. And I read it as part of a course on the 1950s that was taught at UMBC by the late Jim Arnquist. And it was just transformative for me. I loved the characters. I loved the descriptions. I loved the prose. I loved everything about it. And you and I have talked about books over the years. It's one of those books that every once in a while you just go back and just reread. I can go back and just thumb any page and find an interesting character that maybe I didn't see before or didn't really pay much attention to before. And I think that's the beauty of Kerouac's work, is that he gives all of his characters, he gives all of the locations, he gives all of the aura around these travels in a 3-year period from 47 to 50, so much depth by the words he writes.
And this became an iconic book, of course. On the Road with Kerouac is still widely sold and available. It had the terms the beatnik generation, the beat generation. It was about drugs. It was about sex. It was about travel. I mean, relationships. It had everything in it that was going on by a generation looking for something else and looking beyond the father knows best image they were seeing on TV. Huh?
And the music, it's bookended by Charlie Parker and Miles Davis, and talked about Count Basie and Thelonious Monk and all the other great jazz musicians of that era. It's just weaved so effortlessly into the prose that it's just so much fun.
The story, I'm thinking about the story almost gets lost in what it meant for a generation. I mean, we talk more about its effect on a generation and those that came after the writing of the book, an effect on a number of generations now than we do about the book itself.
We do, and it was wedged between two wars. It was a very turbulent time in the United States where racism was running rampant, where drugs and sex and, just societal norms were being challenged and changed at every turn. And I think that's one of the things, if you can step back while you're reading and look at it from that perspective, some of the things are very applicable today.
Yeah. Scary but true. We talked about the manuscript, which is perhaps one of the most interesting stories regarding manuscripts in the history of writing.
Jack Kerouac sat down and bridged out his first draft of On the Road in a 120-foot long sheet of paper, actually many pieces of paper, taped together, single-spaced, one line, no paragraph markers, just imagine just 120 feet of typed words. And I remember the first time my professor told us about this, we were just blown away by this concept. And that was in the days before it was easy to sit at computers and type. Imagine typing on a typewriter that many words and having it turn into something that's widely acclaimed as one of the, most prized books ever.
Yeah. And both of us were when we were talking about this yesterday, we had to go look and see, where is that manuscript?
And apparently Jim Irsay, the son of the late Colts owner, bought it at auction, or bought a portion of it at auction years ago. I think part of it is still up in a museum in Lowell, Massachusetts, which is Jack Kerouac's stomping grounds.
Yeah. All right. It's a wonderful read. It's an iconic book that has lived over the generations. It's in the Orwell tradition of works that live on because they apply to what's going on in this day and age. On the Road, Jack Kerouac. If you haven't ever read that, you just got to do it.
It's a lot of fun.
Now, we got a Baltimore author. We got to get in, though, before we leave you here.
My favorite author, Laura Lippman, her latest, Lady of the Lake. If you like mysteries, you're going to love Laura Lippman's work. If you haven't given her a try before, please give her a try now. Last summer's was Sunburn. It was set on the eastern shore of Delaware, a little dot of a town, and lots of interesting, strange little goings on. This year's novel is equally engrossing. Again, you talk about character development and plot development. I don't think anybody in today's literary mystery world does it better than Laura Lippman. So if you haven't read Lady of the Lake yet, give it a shot.
And NPR just gave it a tremendous boost. It was featured, and they said it was as good a mystery as they have read in a long time. Pete, we really appreciate it. Thanks so much for doing this, and thanks for doing everything you do with our Hitting the Books.
My pleasure. I enjoy the blog very much.
All right, take care.